What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tim Sports Talk. And today I'm going to start a series of where I'm just going to go and judge other people's mock drafts, right? I can put my own, and I will put out one before the draft, but you can only put out so many mock drafts before you're just picking the same guys, and then, or like you're picking guys that are suboptimal to what you would want, and blah blah blah. Then you're trying to like make up different scenarios. So I just figure I'll just take the scenarios that other people are giving me, use that as a springboard to go after or go and look at more players, right? Like see who other guys in the community are looking to go grab, and then I can go watch them, see their combine results, and kind of judge them and see if I would like those players, and use an opportunity just as a way to expand who I'm familiar with in the draft. So those are the reasons why I'm deciding to do this. First up is going to be Riggos Rag. They came up with a mock draft. They put a trade in here. We're going to see what's up with it, and then I'm going to give a grade for each pick. What do I think about each player? And then at the end, give an overall grade of what do I think about this mock draft. Would I be happy with it? Would I not? And go from there. So, all right, let me know what you guys think about it as well. Tell me who you want at number 2. You can see here he's already taking Jayden Daniels, and let's hop right into it. So Jayden Daniels, there doesn't need to be a whole lot said here. I like the pick. I think this is probably the most obvious pick out of the quarterbacks available, not named Caleb. We're all expecting Caleb to go number 1. I know a lot of people like Drake May. I am not a Drake May fan whatsoever. JJ McCarthy, I just made a video about that one. Ridiculous. So not a big fan of anybody else. I liked Michael Penix. Injury waiting to happen, though. So many injuries, and then he had 2 more in the championship game with an ankle and a shoulder, I believe. Then he had 2 ACL tears. He also kind of flopped in the championship game. Looked great in the semifinal game, but wasn't meant to be in the championship. So, but I do like Jayden Daniels, in fantastic touchdown to interception ratio, great speed, escapability in the pocket, quick decision maker, Heisman Trophy winner for a reason. I gave it an A on that pick. Next up, he made a trade. Here's the trade. He goes back into the first round, trading to get number 29. He's getting number 36, 67, and 139, which according to the trade chart is too much. The 29th overall, I believe, was around 600 points, like 630 points. Let me pull that back up, though. It was just too much for what you could potentially get according to the trade chart, at least, right? So pick 29 was 640, and currently we sit at 36, so that'd be 540. So it's already only a 100-point difference. Then giving up pick number 67, that's 255 points. So we're already 155 points over. And giving up pick 139, you're looking at another 36. So you're looking at almost 200 value points on the chart. So I'm not a huge fan of this trade to go up and go get who? You're not getting a quarterback or whatever. It's kind of also in that situation of, I mean, are you trying to reach for a receiver here? I don't even know. Well, I know who he's going to take, but at the time it's like, this is not the trade. I don't mind the idea of trading into the first round. I just think he's giving way too much up to go do it. And so overall, I'm going to give this trade like a pretty low grade, like a D. Too much value, and you already got your quarterback, so who are you going up to go get? All right, let's see who he does actually draft there, and he is going to go ahead and draft the first white corner to potentially start in the NFL for 20 plus years or whatever it is, right? Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. And he did not work out at the combine. He had an injury. He was cleared, but he decided not to. He's 6 foot, 203 pounds. He was a punt returner also over there in Iowa, so there's some position flex there. He had 7 interceptions in his career. He had tough matchups, especially against those Ohio State wide receivers with Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Emeku Ebekwe, or however you say that receiver's name. So he had some matchups over there, and I thought he played decent against those. I think he's a solid player, right? I don't think he's a shutdown corner by any means. I think he actually could pretty fit well in Dan Quinn's system, especially with 7 interceptions at the college level. He definitely wants to go hunt for the football, but I don't judge corners based on your interceptions. I mean, we see that with Emmanuel Forbes, especially at the college level. A lot of different things could happen to bounce the ball into your hands in certain situations. As I said, I don't view this guy as a shutdown corner. Not that Quinn needs a shutdown corner, but I also think that that's part of the issue, is that if you're going to spend a first round pick on a corner, he should be a dude that you are ready to put on a number 1 wide receiver. And at 6 foot, 203 pounds, I mean, that's a solid size and not tremendous speed. He didn't run the 40. He's projected to run a 4.5. I mean, are you really putting this guy on CeeDee Lamb? Are you really putting this guy on AJ Brown? Like, when you need a stop, list whatever other receiver that we could potentially face next season. We do need a corner. We got some lower end guys. I'm just not super excited about this pick, especially trading up to go get it. But I'm only grading the player on this one. I already graded the trade. The player, I'll give it a B. I think position of need, yes. I think he could be really good in the system. A little bit too high for where I would want to take him. Pick number 40 is our next pick, since he traded at number 36 to go up. Would be Adisa Isaac, edge rusher out of Penn State. He is, he's not going a tackle in the first 3 picks in his mock draft. Bold move. That was the first note I wrote down. I think that one of our first 3 picks is definitely going to be a tackle. He's a little bit of a smaller edge rusher at 6'4", 247, but he does have some explosive ability. At the combine, he had a 1.64 10-yard split in the 40. The overall 40 wasn't great, but we really more care about the explosion, especially on the edge, which, just to give a comparison, not saying that this is the guy that he's going to be at the next level by any stretch, but just to give you an idea, Von Miller was a 1.62 in the 10-yard split, so just a slight bit slower than Von Miller, who's an extremely explosive player at the next level. He had a 34.5-inch vert, did Adisa, compared to Von at 37-inch, a little bit shorter there as well, and a 10'3" broad jump. Von was a 10.6. Again, I'm not expecting him to be Von Miller by any stretch of the imagination. It's just to give you an idea of where these numbers sit. I think he has really good hands when he's pass rushing, gets the tackles hands off of him quickly. He has a really good stunt ability over there with Penn State. He was used along the line as well. He has that position flex, can attack from different angles. He's not just going against the left tackle or just going against the right tackle all game. I like this pick. I thought he was a solid player at Penn State. We did get a few edge rushers, and we have a couple of guys that are on the depth chart already. We had got Dorrance Armstrong. We got Dante Fowler. He is an aging guy. We did try to make some adjustment or add some pieces there at the edge already. I'm going to give this a B-. I do think it's good to have more edge rushers in, especially in rotation. As I said, he is a bit smaller side, not terribly small, but is that explosion going to be enough at the next level to really overcome that? Because if in the run game, he's going to be a little more of a liability, especially at the point of attack. If you have a really good tackle, this guy is going to get pushed along the line. But that's how I feel about him. So B- there. Next up is pick number 78. So this would be our first one in the 3rd round. And this is where he goes offensive tackle. And he is going with Roger Rosengarden. He played right tackle at the University of Washington, which we do need a left and right tackle. So it's not bad to go ahead and go get one that played primarily right tackle. He's 6'5", 308 pounds. Combine showed he was pretty quick, but the game film to me showed different. Against Michigan, he looked very slow at times, getting beat with speed around the edge and inside. I was not overly impressed with him there. He got bullied a lot. His pads were high in the run game. He looked small below the waist as well. Like he had a bigger upper body, but small above the waist or below. So the power wasn't really there. It didn't look like. They had to start chipping on that side or throwing the ball quickly as well when he didn't chip, because he was giving up quite a bit of pressure in the championship game. I'm not overly excited about this pick. I don't think he's going to be a very good starter. You could almost see a Wiley in him, similar stature as well. So I'm going to give this a D. This is not the tackle that I would want to get. We need a tackle desperately, and pretty much whichever tackle you draft, especially the first one that you go with, it may have a chance to be a starter here, especially in the third round. I would not want this guy starting for me right off the rip. Even at right tackle. So not particularly excited about that pick. Next up is our second third round pick. So in this one, we would have 2 third round picks in this mock drafts. You didn't trade one of those. We're going to go with Germaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama. He's 6 foot, 196 pounds. He ran a 4.45 at the combine. Not incredibly fast, but quick enough. But he did have some great explosion. He had a 1.53 10-yard split, an 11.1 broad jump, which was good for 4th at the combine, and a 38.5-inch vert. He was primarily used in Alabama as a deep threat. He only had 39 catches last year. He did have 8 touchdowns, about 700 and little under 800 yards receiving. But in his highlights, he did have a few where he was showing off a pretty decent route running ability. I don't know why they didn't use that more, especially one in the red zone where he just completely fooled the corner off the rip, got around him, then used a little shake and bake to cut back inside with the corner behind him, got the separation and got the touchdown. And showing the explosion, showing he didn't do the 3-cone drill or the 20-yard shuttle. I would have liked to see more of his lateral ability, but there was a few plays there that showed me that this guy maybe at the next level could be more than just a big play deep threat that he was at Alabama. And he also had some great hands, contested catch ability when it was a little bit off the mark with their young quarterback. His name is escaping me, but he was, and Milroe. He had times where he was inaccurate. He came up and made some big catches for him. I do think we should get a receiver, but this is not really the style receiver that I'm looking to get, because we already kind of have similar dudes to this already on the roster at 6 foot 196. You have Terry McLaurin already. You have Jahan Dotson. You got a couple others that this is not a guy that I'm super excited about, but I think he has a lot of potential. I'm giving this a B+, and I think he could be a pretty good pick at the late third round, because even though it's not technically the need at that player, but if he can be a really, really good receiver for us, especially wide receiver 3, I'm not super mad at it. So B+ there. Then he goes with another tackle. So this one is Javon Foster out of Missouri. Really good measurements at 6'6", 313, 34.5-inch arms. This guy is a developmental tackle. Of course, you're getting him in the 5th round, so you're not expecting the most polished tackle you've seen, especially at that size where in that arm length. If he had super talent, he's going to be drafted a lot higher than the 5th round. But he had super high pads in the run game, pretty much right off rip. Every time the ball was snapped, his pads were the highest on the field. But he was better in pass pro. He picked up some stunts. I watched him against Georgia. I thought he had a solid anchor as well. Didn't get pushed too far back into the pocket. I do think he needs quite a bit of work, especially in the run game. He's unlikely to become a starter, but it is a position of need. I think that there's a little bit of potential there. 5th round pick. I'm going to give it a C. I'm not super excited about this guy. He has a lot of work to do before he could become even a solid starter in the league. Not overly excited. Oh, and his combine results, I didn't even write them down because they were so bad. I think he had a 5.3 40 with a 1.79 10-yard split, which was like near the bottom of the pack, or like bottom middle at least, as far as explosion and speed as well. Yeah, not the best. And the last pick of the draft in the 7th round, he's going with the linebacker Omar Spates out of LSU. We've known we needed desperately linebackers for a long time, but we did sign a few in free agency. We got Bobby Wagner, we got Frankie Luvu, so it's not so much of a big need. Now it is a 7th round pick. You're throwing a dart at the dartboard at this point. How harshly can you really grade a 7th rounder? But this guy in particular was not overly athletic. He had no sacks, only 4 pressures all year. He had no pass breakups, no interceptions. QBs had a 114 rating on him, so he's not getting after the passer. He only also had like 50 tackles on the year, so he wasn't incredibly active in the run game. Not a great coverage player. He was a 5th-year senior, transfer from Oregon State to LSU. Again, I can only grade a 7th round pick so harshly, but this is probably one of the worst grades I'm going to ever give a 7th round pick, at a C-. So not super excited about an Omar Spates coming out of LSU. But again, how many 7th round picks are going to give you excitement at that level? I think that later round picks should be most likely like a running back, because there's so many good running backs later in drafts. If you can find one late 6th, 7th, maybe special teams guy, even though we already got our kicker and our punter, and we went and got a long snapper. Maybe a smaller receiver with some punt return ability, more weapons like that. But at the same time, it is what it is. So overall grade, I'm giving this a C-. The only A pick I gave him was the quarterback, which is pretty much a gimme at this point. I mean, if you have the number 2 overall pick, you better get an A. I thought the trade was bad and a bit of a reach for the corner. No OT tackle in the first 3 picks is something I'm not particularly happy with. And later picks, my favorite pick in this draft is probably Germaine Burton. He's a guy that I wasn't super familiar with, and I liked what I saw. So he's a guy that I came away from this mock a little bit of excited about if we went and got him. Other than that, Adisa's fine. Cooper DeJean, fine. Don't like the trade, but fine. Overall, I think this is like a C- draft. So, but hey, let me know what you guys think about this mock drafts. And if you know of a mock draft you really liked, or you really thought was ridiculous for Washington, a 7-round mock, let me know whose it was, and I can look it up. I can do other content creators, some mainstream dudes, other potential, bigger names in the community that are like in the writing community, bloggers, or I don't know, whoever else is doing one. I'll react to those, and it's good for me, again, just to continue to get more and more names under my belt, and hopefully this was a bit entertaining on that front. And thank you, Riggos Rag, for being my first judgment on this one, and appreciate the mock draft. And Riggos Rag, good website, shout them out there too, go hit them up. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. I'm going to try to do more and more of these as long as I have time to go through in all these players. So let me know if you like this idea and this content idea also in the comments. If you think it's trash, let me know that too. No, but I will see you next time. And until next time, see ya!